After all, after the father's death, when the family property is divided, the 10 billion yuan, on average, to the three sons' homes, each can get at least 30 billion yuan, and the result is that the 30 billion yuan is in vain. Therefore, they are also very worried that Charlie will return to the family. Zhang Chen didn't look at these sons or grandchildren but looked at his daughter, Cynthia. He sighed, and said, "Cynthia, the new year is almost coming soon." Cynthia hurriedly got up and asked, "Dad, don't hesitate to tell me if you have any orders, I will definitely go all out." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "Let's go to Orus Hill tomorrow. See Charlie, have a good chat with him, and ask him if he wants to come back. If he has this heart, invite him to come back and spend time together with us this year." Cynthia hurriedly said, "Okay Dad, I will go to Orus Hill tomorrow." As she said, she remembered something and asked, "Dad, Charlie is already married. If he wants to come back, should he bring his wife to see you?" Zhang Chen waved his hand and said in disgust, "How can a vulgar woman from a third-rate city and a third-rate family be worthy of entering Wade family mansion? See you at a glance and see if there are any opportunities for development." "Okay." Cynthia nodded, and said, "I'll go and test Charlie's ideas first. Let me mention these things to him step by step." Zhang Chen smiled with satisfaction. "I'll leave this to you." Andrew was extremely depressed, but he didn't dare to object, so he could only pull the topic back, and said, "Dad, didn't we talk about going to Japan? You just said that you should not have a head-on conflict with the Su family, so what do we do?" Zhang Chen said, "We can't go with a big fanfare, but I can send someone to meet Ito Yuihiko in private." Andrew was a little irritable, thinking about going to Tokyo on his own, and by the way, he should be relieved, so he volunteered, "Dad, or I will fly to Tokyo in the morning, and see Ito Takehiko." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "I definitely want to see him, but you can't go." Andrew asked in surprise, "Dad, what do you mean?" Zhang Chen said, "Before the Su family sent the younger generation of juniors, if the Wade family let you go, it would look asymmetrical, as if we are a bit lower than the Su family." After that, Zhang Chen looked at Andrew's son and his eldest grandson, and said, "Junior, you are ready to set off before 10 o'clock, and go to Tokyo after lunch." Grandson hurriedly got up and said respectfully, "Okay Grandpa, I will prepare now." "But Grandpa, I meet Ito Takehiko, how should I talk to him about the project?" Zhang Chen waved his hand, "You don't have to talk about anything related to the project. I will prepare some gifts, and you will take them with your own hands. It is just a little bit of my heart. Besides, I also want to make friends with him. Leave the contact information and you can come back." Grandson asked in surprise, "It's that simple?" Zhang Chen nodded and said, "Yes, it's that simple." After speaking, Zhang Chen said again, "Flying 2,000 kilometers to discuss cooperation is not sincere. But if it is flying 2,000 kilometers to visit a patient, it is very sincere." Andrew smiled and said, "Dad, you're better off. The Su family may have done it this time, our Wade family." Zhang Chen nodded his head and smiled, and said, "This is called the last thing first." Noon. Charlie had lunch with Nanako at the Ito mansion, and the two took the meal prepared for Ito Takehiko to the hospital. When they first went out, Zin brought a few of his men to Ito Yuihiko's ward with a few exquisite gift boxes. Ito Yuihiko didn't want to see them at first, but he also knew the truth about not hitting the smiley people with his hand, so Emmy invited them in. As soon as Zin entered the door, he walked very politely to Ito Yuihiko's bed and sighed, "Brother Ito. I have been admiring Brother Ito for a long time. I am honored to see you today." Seeing Zin's harmless face, he felt a little hairy in his heart. The incident of the Su family's destruction of Matsumoto's family really brought a great psychological shadow to Ito, and it also made him deeply aware that the man in front of him looked gentle and smiled, but in fact, he was a foodie. The devil who does not spit bones. However, Ito Takehiko knows very well that for such a smiling tiger, the less he can offend him on the bright side, otherwise he still doesn't know what kind of trouble he will cause in the future. So, he also said with joy, "Oh, Mr. Su. I didn't expect you to come to see me in person. I am really flattered." Please sit down, please sit down. Zin nodded, sat on the chair by the hospital bed, smiled, and said, I'm so sorry to meet in this way. I've been busy recently, so I wanted the children to come and visit Mr. Ito first, and then I took time. I came to visit in person again. I didn't expect so many accidents. I would like to ask Mr. Ito to forgive me.